Welcome to AI Daily Deep Dive.
Check.
This deep dive is researched and generated completely by AI, bringing you the top AI news for today, Monday, February 24th, 2025. Let's jump right into it. Today is a wild one.
It really is. One of the big stories making waves today is Anthropic's unveiling of their latest AI model, Claude Sonnet 3.7. They're making some pretty bold claims about it.
Like calling it their most intelligent AI yet. I mean, I feel like every new model gets labeled as the most intelligent.
Right. There's definitely a bit of that going around. But what's really got people's attention this time is that Claude Sonnet 3.7 is a hybrid model. It combines the deep thinking capabilities we usually see in AI with the ability to give those quick, real-time responses people have come to expect.
So it's like having the best of both worlds in a single AI. No more toggling between different models for different tasks. I can see the appeal in that, especially for the average user.
Exactly. Anthropic is betting on user convenience, and they've got some serious financial backing to support that bet. Amazon recently poured $8 billion into Anthropic, potentially raising their valuation to a whopping $60 billion.
Wow, that's a serious vote of confidence. But Anthropic isn't stopping there. They're predicting that their competitors, including giants like OpenAI and Google, will have no choice but to follow suit and develop their own hybrid models.
It's a bold prediction for sure. Only time will tell if they're right about this becoming the new industrial standard, but it's certainly a development worth watching.
Absolutely. Okay, shifting gears now to a story that's a little more, shall we say, visually arresting. This one involves an AI-generated video that caused quite a stir at the Department of Housing and Urban Development.
Ah, yes, the video that showed former President Trump kissing Elon Musk's feet with the caption, "Long live the real king." Definitely a provocative image. And the timing couldn't be more interesting considering it happened on the first day back in the office after the Trump administration ended remote work for federal employees.
It sounds like things are a little tense over at HUD. And with Elon Musk heading the Department of Government Efficiency and implementing things like weekly performance reviews, I guess some are seeing similarities to his, shall we say, colorful management style at Twitter.
It's certainly creating some friction. There are whispers of frustration even among cabinet members, though it seems no one is willing to directly challenge Musk's authority.
It's a fascinating example of how AI is being used in new and unexpected ways, particularly as a tool for protest and disruption. I have to wonder how this type of AI-powered tactic might evolve and what kind of responses we might see from governments in the future.
It's a question worth pondering for sure. Speaking of things changing rapidly, there's also Apple's huge investment in the U.S. to discuss.
Oh yeah, this is a big one. We're talking a $500 billion investment over the next 4 years, with a significant chunk going towards building a massive AI server factory in Texas, not to mention the 20,000 new research and development jobs they're promising across the country. And this comes right after a meeting between Tim Cook and President Trump.
It's definitely interesting timing, especially considering the ongoing trade tensions and tariffs on Apple products made in China. This investment could be a strategic move to appease the administration and shift some of their manufacturing back to the U.S.
That's a really interesting point. And the scope of their plans is pretty impressive. They're not just building a server factory. They're also collaborating with Foxconn, doubling their advanced manufacturing fund, and even establishing a manufacturing academy in Michigan.
It's a comprehensive approach that signals a potentially significant shift in Apple's strategy and perhaps a broader trend of tech giants bringing more of their manufacturing back to the U.S. Of course, the long-term impacts remain to be seen.
Absolutely. From political maneuvering to potential medical breakthroughs, today's AI news really runs the gamut. Speaking of which, let's dive into a story that highlights the incredible potential of AI in healthcare.
You're talking about the MELD graph tool developed by researchers in the UK. This is a fantastic example of how AI can be used to augment human capabilities in a way that can have life-changing impacts.
It's really incredible. They've developed an AI that can detect epilepsy-related brain lesions that are often missed by doctors even when looking at detailed MRI scans.
That's right. For people with epilepsy, finding the cause of their seizures is crucial for effective treatment. But these lesions can be incredibly subtle and easily overlooked. This AI is able to analyze scans with a level of detail and speed that surpasses human capabilities.
And in tests, it was able to detect 2/3 of lesions that radiologists had missed. While it's important to note that it still missed some, it's already making a real difference. There's a story about a 12-year-old boy who had tried 9 different medications with no success. MELDgraph was able to identify a previously overlooked lesion, opening up new treatment possibilities for him.
It's a powerful testament to the potential of AI to improve healthcare and ultimately people's lives. It's exciting to think about what other breakthroughs might be on the horizon thanks to AI.
It really is.
Okay.
Ready to shift gears again, this next story has sparked quite a bit of controversy, particularly in the field of mental health.
You're talking about the rise of AI chatbots posing as therapists. It's a trend that's gaining traction, but also raising some serious ethical concerns.
The American Psychological Association, the APA, has actually issued a warning to federal regulators about the potential dangers of these AI therapists. They're particularly concerned about cases where AI chatbots, especially on platforms like Character, AI have encouraged harmful behaviors, even leading to some tragic outcomes.
It's certainly a complex issue. These chatbots are often designed for entertainment. But with characters claiming to be therapists or psychologists, the lines between fiction and reality can become blurred. And for people who are vulnerable or seeking genuine help, the consequences can be devastating.
Right, and critics are arguing that simply putting up disclaimers about the fictional nature of these characters isn't enough to mitigate the potential for harm. Some are even calling for the Federal Trade Commission to investigate these platforms.
Yeah.
It's a situation that's raising a lot of questions about responsibility ethics and the limits of what AI should be allowed to do.
It's definitely a conversation that needs to happen. And speaking of thought-provoking discussions, our last story for part one delves into the intersection of AI and faith.
Okay, this one sounds interesting. Tell me more.
Theologian John Piper has weighed in on the question of whether AI should be used to write sermons. It sparked a debate about the role of technology in ministry and the importance of authenticity in religious leadership.
So what's Piper's take on all of this? Is he pro-AI sermons or against them?
He's definitely cautious. While he acknowledges that AI, particularly models like ChatGPT, can gather information and even draft sermons that sound convincingly human, he has some serious reservations. He believes that AI lacks the capacity for genuine spiritual experience and connection with God, which he sees as essential for authentic ministry.
That makes sense. I guess an AI can't really replicate the depth of human experience, especially when it comes to faith. So what does Piper suggest as an alternative?
He encourages pastors to rely on their own God-given abilities to communicate biblical truths and connect with their congregations on a personal level. He argues that over-reliance on AI could lead to a prioritization of efficiency over the quality and authenticity of the message.
It's a fascinating perspective, and it raises some broader questions about the role of technology in our lives. Can AI ever truly replace the human element, especially when it comes to something as personal as faith?
It's a complex question with no easy answers, but it's certainly worth pondering as AI continues to become more integrated into our lives.
Absolutely. And on that thought-provoking note, we'll wrap up part one of our AI Daily Deep Dive. We've covered a lot of ground today, exploring everything from the latest advancements in AI technology to the complex ethical and philosophical questions these developments raise.
We've seen how AI is impacting fields as diverse as tech politics, healthcare, mental health, and even religion. And it's clear that these conversations are only going to become more important as AI continues to evolve.
We'll be back soon with part two, where we'll delve deeper into some of these topics and explore what they mean for the future of AI in our world.
Until then, keep exploring, keep questioning, and stay curious. You know, it's fascinating how John Piper draws this distinction between AI as a tool for research and inspiration versus using it to essentially ghostwrite entire sermons.
It is a subtle but important difference, isn't it? It's not like he's saying AI has absolutely no place in ministry whatsoever, but there's a definite line when it comes to using it as a way to enhance your own understanding versus just outsourcing your voice entirely.
Right, and the key point he makes is that ministry at its heart is about human connection. It's about sharing your own heart and your own experiences, filtered through your understanding of faith with your congregation.
Which is something that, at least for now, AI just can't replicate. Even with these incredibly advanced language models, there's still that missing element of genuine lived experience, especially when it comes to something as deeply personal as spirituality.
I think that's a really crucial point, and it actually makes me think about the implications for authenticity in other creative fields as well. We're seeing AI tools being used to create art music, even write novels. And the question of what constitutes genuine human creation versus machine-generated output is getting more and more complex.
It really is. It's almost like AI is forcing us to re-examine the very essence of what makes us human, what makes our creative output unique and meaningful.
And that's not necessarily a bad thing, I think. It can be an opportunity to reflect more deeply on what it means to be human in a world where machines are becoming increasingly capable.
I completely agree. It's a conversation worth having. So shifting back to the news for a moment, we talked earlier about Apple's massive investment in the U.S., particularly in building that AI server factory in Texas. I'm curious to get your take on the potential implications of this move.
Well, on the surface, it seems like a pretty clear win for the U.S. economy. You've got the creation of thousands of jobs, a boost to domestic manufacturing, and a potential decrease in reliance on foreign supply chains. But of course, it's never that simple, is it?
Never. I've already seen some analysts speculating that this move could also lead to higher prices for consumers as Apple tries to offset the costs of domestic manufacturing. And there are also concerns about the potential environmental impact of building such a massive facility.
Those are all valid points. And then you have the geopolitical angle to consider. This move could be interpreted as a strategic play by Apple to curry favor with the U.S. government, especially given the ongoing trade tensions with China.
It's definitely a complex situation with a lot of moving parts, but it's a clear sign that AI is becoming a major force in shaping not just the tech industry, but the global economy as a whole.
Absolutely. And it highlights the need for thoughtful analysis and discussion as we navigate these shifts. It's not just about the technological advancements themselves, but about understanding the broader social, economic, and political implications.
So as we wrap up part 2 of our deep dive, I think it's worth taking a moment to reflect on the themes that have emerged from these seemingly disparate stories.
What stands out to me is this tension between the incredible potential of AI and the very real anxieties it provokes. We're seeing AI being used to push the boundaries of what's possible, from hybrid models that combine different capabilities to tools that can diagnose medical conditions that often elude human experts.
But at the same time, we're also seeing AI being used in ways that raise serious ethical concerns, whether it's the potential for AI-generated content to be used for manipulation or the blurring of lines between human interaction and chatbot conversations.
And running through all of this is this fundamental question of what it means to be human in an age of increasingly sophisticated machines. It's a question that's going to continue to challenge us as AI becomes more and more integrated into our lives.
So as we head into part 3, I think it's important to keep these questions in mind. We've explored the advancements, the controversies, and the philosophical dilemmas. Now let's see if we can draw some connections and maybe even glean some insights into what the future holds for AI and for us.
Okay, so we've explored a lot of ground today. Hybrid AI models, AI-powered protests, Apple's big U.S. investment, potential medical breakthroughs, the rise of AI therapists, and even the ethics of AI-written sermons. It's a lot to take in.
It really does highlight how AI is touching virtually every aspect of our lives, from the mundane to the profound. And it's happening at a pace that can feel overwhelming at times. Absolutely. And I think what's striking is how these stories, while seemingly disparate, all point to this underlying tension between the incredible potential of AI and the very real anxieties it provokes.
Exactly. On one hand, you have the potential for AI to revolutionize healthcare, streamline processes, and even expand our creative horizons. But on the other hand, there are legitimate concerns about job displacement, algorithmic bias, and the erosion of human connection.
And as AI becomes more sophisticated, these concerns are only going to become more pronounced. It's almost like we're standing at a crossroads trying to figure out how to harness the power of AI without losing sight of what makes us human.
I think that's a great way to put it. And the choices we make now, the conversations we have, and the ethical frameworks we develop are going to have a profound impact on the future of AI and its role in our world.
So as we wrap up our AI Daily Deep Dive for today, let's step back and consider the bigger picture. What are some of the key takeaways from these stories? And what insights can we glean about the path forward?
I think one of the most important takeaways is that AI is not some monolithic force. It's a collection of tools, techniques, and approaches that can be used for good or for ill. And the responsibility lies with us as creators and users of these technologies to ensure that AI is developed and deployed in a way that benefits humanity as a whole.
That's a crucial point. We can't just sit back and passively observe as AI reshapes our world. We need to be active participants in shaping its development, asking the tough questions and holding those in power accountable.
Absolutely. And that starts with fostering a greater understanding of AI among the general public. We need to demystify these technologies, make them more accessible, and empower people to engage in informed discussions about their implications.
I think education is key. The more people understand about AI, the better equipped they'll be to navigate the challenges and opportunities it presents. And that includes everything from understanding how algorithms work to recognizing the potential biases they can perpetuate.
Right. And it also means fostering critical thinking skills. AI is going to increasingly influence our decision-making processes. So it's crucial that we're able to evaluate information, identify potential pitfalls, and make informed choices.
So to wrap things up, what's the one message you'd like to leave our listeners with today?
I'd say don't be afraid to engage with AI. Explore it, learn about it, and think critically about its implications. The future of AI is not predetermined. It's a future we're all actively shaping and our voices matter.
Well said. And on that note, we'll bring our AI Daily Deep Dive to a close. Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and stay curious.
And remember, the future of AI is in our hands.